And we were here, back in September, I guess, with a bunch of school kids from Montessori school. And they're all used to staying on the trails. So, and their teacher was saying, stay on the trail, which is what you do when you go to a state park. So this whole wad of kids went running down the trail and came to a really abrupt stop right at, and didn't know what to do. And then when they finally said, well, you can be off the trail and you can climb the hill and you can climb it, and then they just went wild. So this is one of those places where we're hoping people can actually see a bit more of the woods and nature by being off the trail and not necessarily sticking on the trail, because a lot of times if you go up to Hanging Rock or one of the state parks, you're hiking a trail and basically all you see is the path the whole time you're there. So this way we can go a little bit slower and look for things. We want to kind of focus on any things, spring flowers and stuff that you might see. So if you see anything that you're unaware of or don't know what it is, ask somebody. You can ask me. I might or may not tell you what it is. You can ask Kaylin. She'll give you her legal opinion of what it is. And then you can ask Kevin, and he'll song and dance some other way. So depending on who you ask, you might get different answers. And some other folks have been here before. So Beth has been here before, and Ellen's been here before, Charlie. So there are people who have been around. So we're pretty much going to go in. And we don't have any set trail or set direction. So if somebody sees something that's up the hill and to the ridge, we might go that way and wander around. So, so just whatever interests you. We'll probably spend a couple of hours. I would suspect we'll be done and back here by noon. So we're just going to head on in and see what we see that's interesting. So the other thing that I wanted to let everybody know is we're trying to make this useful to school groups and scout groups and church groups or anything. So if you have an organized group that wants to come out here sometime, just feel free to give me a call and
you didn't come to Earth Day.
Bring out an organized group. That would be very useful to us.
What was that, Ken?
Meadow rue, Phalantricum phalantricoides. How's that?
I think that's very impressive, Ken.
Meadow rue. Meadow rue, yeah. And there's also, these are foam flowers just starting to flower. So meadow rue, foam flower. There was some bloodroot leaves over there.
And what's this little flower right here to the...
This is meadow rue, this guy.
Meadow what?
Meadow rue. R-U-E.
Meadow rue.
R-U-E.
Is that what he said that is?
Yes.
Yep. Meadow rue.
And here's a foam flower, which is Tiarella, which is a really nice. It's kind of in the family of coral bells, but the flowers open up differently.
Oh, okay.
Northern maidenhair fern. So hillsides, especially shady, moist hillsides, are really good places to look. So I've seen foam flower is in flower here. Bloodroot is past. There's the meadow rue, which are those white flowers there. The northern maidenhair fern.
Yeah, it's nice to see.
Bunches of the hepatica. So this hillside would be a bunch of blue flowers first thing in the spring. So I always like to look at places that are shady and moist, because that's where you find a lot of good stuff around here in the spring. And then the other thing is there's a kind of a floodplain here, so we've got interesting flora on the ground. So where we're standing is probably an old oxbow from the creek going over this way, and it's now a vernal pool with very deep mud.
Oh, look at that. Oh my God.
So you can always tell when you're standing on an old creek bed because there's lots of nice deep mud. So I just put my hiking stick in that deep. So probably there are a couple places in the nature preserve here where the channel still has a little bowl that fills with water, and those are vernal pools. And they only fill up in the spring when they're a great place for the amphibians to breed. So if you see any standing water, which this is a good season for that, shout out.
Hey, Ken, do that again. Not everybody saw you put your stick down in the... Watch him, Darren. Here, watching this. Wait, tell everybody. Look at that. Look at him put his stick down. Wow.
Like quicksand or something?
No. It's not. No, it's a vernal pool. Look at that. Look at that. Wow.
What is this?
It's a vernal pool. Or it was. Or
so that's why I have this thing calibrated. I have a mark every foot. which is useful for measuring depth and also tree widths and stuff. So my hiking stick works out to be one of those useful inventory tools. And there's a nice showy orchid down there.
That's a really spectacular showy orchid.
That's a very nice one. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty one, isn't it? Really showy, isn't it?
Yeah, usually the juvenile black bears are they den up in the mountains, and even summer there's a den at Hanging Rock.
Yeah.
And then when the babies are born, the mother chases them out of her territories, and they kind of wander around. So, I mean, I've seen reports of black bears down in Winston-Salem and Greensboro, but it's just usually the yearling juveniles kind of wandering around, and then they decide it's too populated down there, and they turn around and head back to the mountains. So, I don't know of any. Are there any black bears in the Uaris, Kevin? Kevin. Okay.
I thought we had an intruder, then it was Kevin.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the property probably goes another couple thousand feet down that way. So if we're all, we can kind of start thinking about heading back. We'll get back about noon-ish if we leave from now. What we've done is, well, we could just walk right back up down the valley. It'll be cooler, but at some point it's useful to come along and look along this ridge here. There's a little corner of the property where this creek flows into a bigger creek that comes along the north side of the property. And if you go up that hillside and down, but there's no path, it's all real thick on that side. So there's a bigger creek and the confluence of this one is downstream.
See the fishes behind you?
Mm-hmm. And then up on this side, there's actually a small colony of maybe 15 feet in diameter of leatherwood, which has really rubbery stems, and you can tie them into knots without them breaking. So that one is up on the hillside, and then at the very top of the hill, it turns into just a bunch of pines where it had been logged and is growing. And somebody asked about if we would find lady slippers, and that would be where you would find the lady slipper plant. Fish nest is a little dark coarse gravel that's been scooped away into a little bowl.
Oh, yeah.
There's another one.
Look at that.
I was looking for the blue-headed chub nest, but I haven't seen any. But the other way for a fish to build a nest would be to just wiggle its tail in the sand and let the sand dry that out.
Oh, look at that. You have good eyes to see that.
Took them until one fell off.
So this is pawpaw flower.
Yeah. Oh. And we can get pawpaw fruit there in the fall. We can. Summer.
Now, when is it summertime?
When did you bring in the pawpaws?
The pawpaws are ripe middle of September.
Oh, okay. So it's in the fall.
They're not ripe while they're hanging on the tree. They're ripe while they're falling, and they're overripe by the time they hit the ground.
Like that little song, picking up
So do you pick them before they...
I pick them either right off the tree. I have a tree in my yard that the lower branches are easy to get to. And they're like bananas. They're that texture. So if they fall, they bruise. So I try to pick them right off the tree, but you can get them off the ground. But squirrels, dogs, possums, everybody loves pawpaw.
Mango.
Very stringy.
Yeah.
And there are 2 trees here, 3?
Oh, there's a bunch.
A little grove of them,
Yeah. And unfortunately, they don't pollinate themselves within the grove. So the pollen has to come from another clone. All the trees that we see, see the ones back behind there? There's this whole patch of them.
All right.
These are all one colony that are all related to each other so closely they won't produce seed. But if I were to bring in a pawpaw from the one I have at home and plant it in here, then we'd have pawpaw fruit like crazy in here.
So you think these won't get any fruit?
No,
somebody
I'll bring a pawpaw in from my clone and plant it here, and then
that would be good.
And they're the larval host plant for the zebra swallowtail. Oh. So there's actually a butterfly that's specific to these. Yeah, that was a tiger swallowtail, the yellow one. The zebra swallowtail is black and white, not the yellow and white.